Hi, I'm Malka Labell. I run the Girls Mentoring Program at Epic Families, and we're very happy to bring to you this week a week of chinuch, a week of parental guidance. What I'd like to speak to you about is a question that many times parents ask me. They sit in the room and they ask a very valid question. How do I know if my child is just going through regular, appropriate teenage difficulties or something is beyond and I need to seek help? And this is a very valid question, sometimes a tricky question. And as many things in mental health, it's not black and white, but there are some signs, some ways of understanding when it is something beyond our ability as a parent and it's time to seek help beyond our role and seek professional help. So, how can we differentiate between normal levels of stress and when something has become what we would define as distress? There's three ways to evaluate. The first is the duration. How long is this period of time lasting? How long are these feelings lasting? The intensity. How intense are the feelings? And functioning. Is my child still functioning? So these are the three main factors we look at: duration, intensity, and functioning. To give an example, I'm not going to talk about every mental health issue today, but to give an example of how the DSM categorizes when something has become a disorder, something that needs to be looked at by a professional, bringing you symptoms of major depressive disorder. In the DSM-5 lists depressive mood, a loss of interest or pleasure in daily activities for more than 2 weeks. This mood represents a change from the person's baseline. The baseline is where your child usually is. We all know our children. And some children are more emphatic and outgoing and just at a higher level of enthusiasm, and that is their baseline. And some children are more low key, and that's their baseline, and that's all fine. But if there's a drastic change from that individual child's baseline, that's when the concern comes in. And the third factor, as I mentioned, is impaired function: social, occupational, or educational. So that's the definition of major depressive disorder in the DSM-5. Depressed mood or loss of interest or pleasure in daily activities for more than 2 weeks duration. The mood represents a drastic change from the person's baseline, and it is in function: social, occupational, or educational. So, what is our role if we notice that, yes, this seems to be a case of distress and not stress? What is our role as a parent? So your first role is to make it clear to your child that they are not alone. That is your first role, to be there for them, because already being there for our child at a time of distress takes much of the burden and is the most helpful thing we can do. So let your child know they are not alone. And then the second phase, the second stage of being a help is to help your child seek professional help. You're not a professional therapist. You're a loving parent, but you're not a therapist. So our second role is to help our child to get there, to get to the professional help that they need. So what are these warning signs that we said we're looking for? So they come in, I broke them into 3 categories to make it easier to understand: physical warning signs, emotional warning signs, and behavioral warning signs. Physical signs of distress is a lack of self-care. They're not caring about how they dress anymore. It can be not showering, just a lack of self-care that usually was there. Another physical sign that often comes with emotional stress, distress, is aches and pains that don't go away, come and go, different parts of the body, but there's always an ache and a pain that is a reflection of something going on emotionally. What are some of the emotional signs? And the low emotional state, meaning the person comes home from school or is home and is just at this low place. We all know what that looks like. A low emotional state, a lot of crying, It can, and as I said, it doesn't have to be all of these factors. These are different warning signs. It definitely doesn't have to manifest itself in all of these signs, but there can be a lot of crying. Our teen can be lethargic, not wanting to get out of bed. Now, lethargic by a teenager is, people will say, well, all our teens are lethargic. They all want to sleep late. That's true. But again, we're going to talk about baseline. If your teenager was sleeping till 12 and that was kind of her normal, but now she's sleeping all day and that's lasting for 2 weeks, so this is a red sign. This is a warning sign. Excessive worrying about things, everything, what's going to be after this year and what's going to be after this school, and I'm not going to be able to get into there, and things that might not even come to fruition, and the child is worrying excessively. And exaggerated responses. If someone opens her bedroom door and shuts it softly and she screams, wow, you made so much noise, you're always bothering me. And there's a lot of exaggerated responses. So those are emotional signs that your child is in distress. And behavioral signs is drastic change in sleep pattern, as we mentioned. This is a very big one, and this is perhaps the first place where distress in a teenager really comes clear. I mean, a teenager could be experiencing internal distress for quite a while without us seeing these signs. But one of the first signs that usually comes to the fore is this next sign, and they don't want to participate in activities that they formerly enjoyed. Meaning, if your child used to love going roller skating or love taking a trip to the Kaisel or whatever it was, love going out for a night of bowling and pizza with her friends, and now is no longer interested in those things, and then when asked, denies that they want to go, then this is often the first sign that something is going on. Another sign, which is sometimes more in girls, comes to the fore is drastic changes in eating pattern, either refusing to eat, or binge eating, or eating in a very unhealthy manner. And the last behavioral sign that I want to mention, which happens unfortunately that we do see, is self-injury, that the child's in so much pain that it can be in the form of cutting themselves as a way to alleviate the pain. So those are some of our warning signs that we see when a child is facing distress. So what do we say? Now that we've come to the idea, the acknowledgement that our child something is going on beyond the normal teenage stuff, something is going on. So what do we say? What do we do as caring parents? So what do we say? At first, we acknowledge our child's pain. We acknowledge that our child is experiencing pain. Very important. Sit with that and acknowledge it. Acknowledge that it might be frightening to feel this way. Your child, your teenager, this is new to them as well. So this feeling that they're feeling, they're scary feelings. They also don't know what to do with them. They don't come with a label and a tag and a recipe what to do. So it's important that we acknowledge that it's very frightening. Show respect and understanding. Respect what your child is going through. Try to be understanding of the difficulty. Active listen to them. Don't try to reflect back and be totally present. Don't minimize or dismiss what they're going through. Whatever it is, it's big to them. And don't problem solve. Don't right away when they're telling you your feelings. Try to come out and solve the problem with a quick 1, 2, 3. It's also important when dealing with our teenagers, especially with teenagers, to communicate in a straightforward manner. For example, to say to our child, to our teenager, who you see now that you've come to the realization who is in distress, I noticed that you haven't been yourself lately. Is everything okay with you? Or I'm worried about you. I'm wondering if we could talk about what's bothering you. Be straightforward. Be there. And now what to do? What do we do? We've talked to them, we've acknowledged, we tried to be empathic. So the next step is to do some real hand holding. Let's get help together. Let's find a way that we can help you. I'm there for you, and let's handhold your child till that last step when they can actually reach a professional to get help. If they deny the problem and you feel like your child isn't in imminent danger, then keep checking in. Keep being there for them. Keep checking in. If you feel like your child is in imminent danger, then really try to get them with all your resources to seek professional help. I just want to end with saying that, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's never easy. It doesn't come, unfortunately, mental health issues do not come are often harder to deal with than physical ailments, right? Our child comes home with a broken leg, and it's pretty straightforward when we take him to the doctor, and the doctor sets the bone and then wraps it in a cast, and we have a 3-month healing period, and the bone is healed. So that's pretty straightforward. Mental health issues are often more difficult to detect and more tricky to handle. But being aware and being there for our teen and acknowledging and being empathic and hand-holding them to get help is our best way to really help them be a healthy, grow to be a healthy adult. I hope you get a lot out of this week of epic families parenting sessions, and I hope we can continue to be there for you, to help you, to be malave, to handhold your children through their journeys.